What's goody? What's goody? What? Let me turn this down here. All right. Be hearing it inside my ears. As you see, I changed my hat, but I'm gonna put it back on in a few. But anyway, um, this is Old Jaw Gritty. I'm your boy Juice Warner. I'm about to have the ad pop up in a second. I was trying to time it out. Anyway, I just really wanted to take the time to talk about righteousness and the misconceptions of it, and from my perception, from what I understand righteousness is, and give some insight. And here comes right now. Hold your gritty. Don't forget to hit that like button. Oh shit, hold on a minute. I was waiting for a package yesterday and I finally got it today. I'm about to get back into my growing. So if anybody is on my other page, right, you will be, seeing my growth. Right? That's the politics as usual. Right? So on that I will be doing, I'll be setting up my tent within a couple of days, and I have a camera inside there, so we'll be watching the daily growth and seeing the things that I'm doing. That's one of the reasons why I wasn't doing the show in a couple of days, but that's not really it. Really, I've been putting together, a book. So inside of this book, I've been basically using a lot of the information that I give. And so I'm working on a new chapter. I'll be giving y'all the updates as I go on. But that was really kind of the reason. But I've been also, getting ready to start my grow, right? And so I'll be keeping those updates as well. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about righteousness, right? And the right, and so if we use the examples from the Bible, Lamech, who said, if wait, suggest I'm looking at some. Okay, it says it basically refers to if Cain can be forgiven and he killed his brother without righteousness, right? And even that story is wrong. If you knew the background, if we're basing it off of the Bible story, fine. But if you knew the construct of that story is different. So we're just gonna deal with the construct of it in, its present form of the Bible, right? So according to the Bible, Cain kills his brother, right? And God forgives him in a way. He puts a mark on him to allow him to basically go out and, enslave and cause, his fellow man to be under this same reign of him. But anyway, that's a different story. But Lamech saying that, he tells his wife, basically, I killed a man, and I was defending myself. So if Cain can be forgiven, I could be forgiven sevenfold, right? And then we look over at Moses, who sees his fellow man being done wrong by the Egyptians. So he, basically kills that man and has to go on the run. And from that righteousness, he is given, this information by God, right? Because he's righteous. Now the thing is, he's basically condemned by his own people because they really don't want no problems. Although they don't like the position that they're in, they feel that if you do something to your oppressor, it's only gonna get worse, right? And anybody who's been in situations where someone is trying to oppress you, whether it even be a bully in school, right? Who, say something, I'm gonna punch you in the face, right? That's a form of oppression, right? And so in that lesson of somebody telling you, if you do something, I'm gonna punch you in the face, the bullying seems better than the physical reaction. The physical reaction would be the punch in the face, right? And so you have a group of people who would rather deal with the oppression without the physical altercation, right? But a righteous man does not see that. He or she cannot stand by and allow this oppression, right? Inside our community, black community, urban, dark melanated, whatever you want to call it, right? Because I'm tired of with all of the people, playing the devil's word games, right? So inside of that, you have an oppression mentally, right? And so when a person is righteous, right, in our community, he's going to be ostracized because the number one oppressors in the black community are black people. So there is no identifying marks. There's nothing to determine who's the oppressor and who's being oppressed, because the true oppressor does not care, right? He'll send in the bully or whatever, not necessarily in the, the youth way, even though it plays a part in that as well. You might have an older black oppressor paying one of the little kids to, go punch them in the mouth, you know what I'm saying, and cause these type of confusions. You have the oppressors, like in the incarceration system, the COs and stuff like that, who would start these fights, and next thing you know, when those kids go home, that conflict travels with them. They're not gonna say, wait a minute, the CO had us doing this. No, they're gonna say, yo, I remember when this punk motherfucker punched me in the mouth and yada yada yada, right? And so that's where it brews, right? So one side was being bullied by another that was actually being set up by those who was meant to end that conflict, but they keep it going. And so nobody looks at, the devil at play, right? So, we can get into that later, but right now I'm just talking about the righteous man or woman within our community, right? And I'm gonna say, in all honesty, I've never been a bully, even though I've been labeled a bully, right? But I've been labeled a bully because I will go up against the bully and I will be mad at the one who's being oppressed. because maybe I went through fighting oppression, see right here, burn marks and, up on my arm and stuff like that as a youth, as very young, 3 years old, right? So I had an oppressor. My mother was the oppressor. You know what I mean? So I fought through that. You know what I'm saying? So at a point in my life, like let's say from 5 to like 12, right? From like 5 to 12, I didn't want no conflict because I already came out of that conflict, right? But I knew deep inside what I've been through, you know what I'm saying? So I knew I didn't have it in me to be oppressed, right? So inside of that information, right, you have two sides. Here it is, I'm in the projects, right? You got dudes who 5, 12 deep, right? And this is what they out for. So now you at this young age, right? And you have to go up against these numbers. The people I was around were not those type of people. You know what I mean? They were just regular good kids. You know what I mean? I respect that. That's why I always stayed around that circle. Even though me not being a certain character, right? Meaning that, I still had that willing to fight any oppressor, right? So that separates me from that group who didn't think that way, right? So then it looks like I'm, generating the problem because I won't back down to these dudes. I don't have older brothers, like I didn't have that protection for me. You know what I mean? So when I was in the streets, you might not mess with this dude or that dude because they got older brothers and whatnot, but that don't stop me, right? So I gotta still defend myself. And even if I'm around you, then it looks like I'm bringing, this problem to the circle. So then that makes me a person that's gonna have to fight even more because one, here it is, the people that I'm around, right? They're looking at me as if I'm the problem. And, the oppressor is not caring because they're looking at it as somebody where they can earn their stripes from. From that, I learned, from that situation, I learned that, you basically don't have a choice. Either you're going to be somebody's punching bag, and once you somebody's punching bag, that opens the door for everybody to take that. And then the thing is, you wind up, to where whenever that person want to take something out, they can look at you. I wasn't going to be that person, so I learned to fight back, right? Even if that meant that, hey, the oppressor's going to have to run and get more people, and whatever you do is going to go down like that, right? So I'm saying that as, just to show you me, right, inside of this situation. Now, inside of that, I could say out of my life, right, 20% of that I've put myself in oppressor situations, not long term, but robberies and stuff. Those are oppressive things, right? Now, out of that 20% of oppression, I only participated amongst my people 5% of that. So 80% of my life, I wasn't about oppressing people. It was defending me, right? 20% was me practicing oppression, but out of that 20%, 95% of it wasn't on my people, right? I'm saying that because, as I go through this conversation, it's going to play a major part, right? So, in our community, in the black community, urban, whatever you want to identify yourself as, melanated, whatever the case, I don't really want to get into that, right? But inside of that community, right, you have these quote unquote laws, unspoken rules, and this, that, and the third, right? I agree with, but I don't agree with, right? No snitching. For me, no snitching was never in an oppressive way, meaning that, I never really ran. I mean, at one point in time, I ran with a large group of people, right? Mad robbers and stuff, but we was going, like I said, within this, this 20% of oppression, we were going, which in that 20%, 95% of it was, robbing white people. We keep it real with you. It was robbing white people. So, that's how I knew Corey Wise. But I didn't know him from that, but I knew him in school. But, the Central Park, robberies, like that was, a thing, that wilding and all of that. Those were, the community I was in. So most of the time, we were doing what you see the young boys doing today. We was going up in the white communities and, performing these actions. Like you see these young boys, they running up, in the stores, looting and, low lives and, DCEPs and all of these different groups. That's where we was at. So when I look at the youth doing those things, I don't cast no judgment on them. I just be happy in a way that it's a system you going up against and not a people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's running into these stores and this type of stuff like that. So it's not with the intentions of a physical person. It's Robin Hood, mentality. Whether the people who own those stores, these corporations, they got a right to feel what they want, and I got a right to feel what I want. So I don't look down on those people. Now, when you see these other people who's, riding around and they robbing their community, that was only 5% of me. Of even that 20%. I only did, those actions in certain situations. Now, I'm saying that because I had caught a robbery case, and me being as truthful and honest as possible, I beat the case due to the fact that, I had peoples who approached those people who, other black, people, and told them basically like, yo, my man didn't rob you. If you want to see him in the streets, which is true. I did not rob those people, but the person I was with knew me for, being, a stick-up kid, whatever the case may be. And so when I seen these other dudes that I knew, kind of had a conflict with, but really it was just me being devilish, right? And so I'm talking to the guy that I'm with. Now, mind you, I'm coming back from college. I'm in college at this time, you know what I'm saying? And I'm hanging out with him, and I'm basically, talking about these dudes in a negative light. Like, oh, they puss and this, that, and the third. And so, the guy even though I told him not to do it, where Yankee Stadium, 161st Street Yankee Stadium. I was like, yo, like if you was to get, I'm talking, but I'm talking in existence. This is where hypnotism and mesmerism play a role, because I'm talking this into existence and this suggestion. And inside this suggestion, I basically, I guess, like, silently encourage him to do this robbery. So he walks up on the guys. I was like, and I remember saying stuff like, yo, you don't even need a gun for them, and this, that, and the third. So he basically walked up to them, offered the information that I had at 161st Street, Yankee Stadium. So there's police there. You got transit, you got the courthouses, Supreme Court, criminal court, all of that stuff right there. So the influx of police, like, this is like the hub. And this guy walks up to them, basically tells them, yo, and points me out, which, like I said, they knew me to a degree, and basically said, yo, you see my boy, he got a gun. If you don't give me your money, this, that, and the third. So they wind up taking their chains off, this, that, and the third, right? Nonetheless, where the new Yankee Stadium is today used to be a track field, right? And I remember leaving with him, right? Because I didn't want to get caught up in it. I already knew they knew I was with him, right? And so I ran with him, right? He was trying to give me the jewels and this, that. I was like, nah, hold them. In my mind, I'm thinking, if we get away, you're going to catch a bad one for putting me in this situation, right? And, but we wound up getting incarcerated, right? Right where the new Yankee Stadium is built today. Right, it used to be a track. Anybody who knows the old Yankee Stadium was across the street, and it was like a track field where it's at now. Now I believe the track field is on where the old Yankee Stadium used to be. And anyway, I wind up getting incarcerated. He basically took a plea. Now I got out. You know what I'm saying? One of my boys, bailed me out. I go back down south. I was in college. So I was in Virginia, right? So I go back down south. I wind up missing my court date. I wind up getting extradited back to New York for the court case and all of that. This is how, this is in 9/4. So this is when, the New York City Bloods was popping and all of that. I know, mad big dudes in that. I was CMC status, and then from CMC I wound up getting sent to the Beacon, get caught with a banger, wound up getting sent to HDM, and all of that. So I wound up getting into that story at another time. I'm not really here to glorify that, so I'm trying to stay away from that. Nonetheless, the dude, he winds up, like I said, he winds up taking a plea and implicating me as the person, right? I would happen to be fortunate enough to get the paperwork, and on my paperwork, they had the guy's phone numbers, addresses. Nonetheless, I wound up getting my peoples to contact them, this, that, and the third. And so, I wound up getting out of that situation. Not a righteous move, right? Not righteous. Like I said, so for me to say snitching, I consider snitching to be somebody within the circle telling on outward, to help themselves. But let me make this clear. Since I don't approve of internal, meaning black on black situations, I don't consider anything you doing in that situation as snitching. I consider you still, a coward, because you went out with these people and, you decided if you got caught, you was gonna tell. For me, snitching is external, right? If you are doing something outside of the community and they come and ask the question, if the whites come and ask that question, your thing is, we don't know. Anybody who tells, gives a nudge, any of that, those are the snitches, in my personal opinion. And as we go on, in life and throughout this journey with me, you'll understand what I mean by that, right? But I just really want to get into righteousness. Because again, that would be Moses within his community, and they're working to get out of that situation. So they are unified amongst themselves. They don't let the Egyptians and all of these people know. So that was how Moses was able to perform his magic, because he had those people, right? Putting the marks on the doors, knowing who, the firstborns, they got the maids and all of them. So that system was easily set up because of inner workings and not letting the outside know, right? So they wanted freedom, and the only way to get this freedom is to perform these acts. Him having to kill to defend his people was not wrong, right? And so when we look at internally, quote unquote, black on black crime, right? We don't have an identifier. We don't have, you did XYZ to the people, and so they're going out to get you. The bad crews are gonna defend their allies. Those who have been done wrong are taught, you go and handle your business, right? So there's no identifier to who's the right one and who's the wrong one, right? Even though the those who's dealing with the situation, but as an overall, the news is not gonna say this guy was a righteous man. This guy was right because, they were robbing him and this, that, and the third, and so he shot them. No, he had a gun. We teach inside our community, there's no reason for a gun, and that, because with us using us as an example, we are left unguarded all around. Right? If we teach our people that, you don't need a gun because a gun only brings more problems, I don't agree with that. There's many situations I was dirty as a mother with a strap on me, and I'm walking away from that situation because I know I don't have the intentions of being caught up in anything. So I've had people, like I had my homeboy, he was getting schemed on one day, right? I heard, I knew the people who were scheming on him. They just didn't know that this was my dude like that. So they're talking and they, scheming on him. The next day I went to go tell him, but they had already tried to press him. By the time I went to the school, I was kicked out that school, right? So by the time I went to the school, like he's walking out the building, he see me like, yeah, what's up, right? And then they right then they tried to press him. He backs out on them, right? Me not wanting to see him get caught up in anything, I take the gun out of his hand. He knows me. He trusts me, right? So he knows, like, I'm not going to let nothing happen. Like, it's hard to explain, but we've been through a lot. So he, so when another dude see me taking a gun, he thinking I'm son. I'm like, yo, he telling me you'll give him. I'm like, get away from me. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I wound up taking him a few blocks away. We had to get away from the school. I wound up taking him a few blocks away. We wound up seeing the dudes, right, with the conflict, and I basically, had him, give a one-on-one. Right, so this is somebody that I know to that level. I don't even want to get into it, but we've been in those type of situations with straps, guns, and could have led. And I'm not saying I'm saying even before this. This is why he knows that nothing was going to happen, and if anything went down, I was going to defend him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I was going to make sure that nothing happened. You trusted me enough to take something that is designed to defend yourself, and you put it in my hands. Even though I took it out of your hands, right? Because I didn't want to see him do that. Like, you're standing literally on the school front steps. I don't want to see you shoot this guy and see your whole life go down like that, right? I knew the dude, so, they knew what type of person I was, and so I can basically set up for them, to have this physical altercation versus external, altercation, guns and stuff like that. So I'm just saying this to say that inside of a level of righteousness, right is right, right? Not good or bad. There's no such thing as good or bad when it comes to a righteous man. Those are for the observers, right? Righteous people cannot live off of good or bad, because good or bad is set up by external forces to keep you in line. A righteous man has no time for good or bad. He has a time for right or wrong, right? This is right, this is wrong. But like I said, within our community, there's no space for righteousness, because everybody is going to defend their side. But their side is all the same when it comes to observation, meaning that it's black on black, right? In a world where you're supposed to be looting them because they'll burn down us. They have proven time and time again through their history what they would do to us, right? So we as a people are supposed to look and go, there's nothing I can get off of my people that holds any value. That's why I never really was into, that's why, like I said, only this small percentage of my life in crime, was geared towards my people. And I'm saying that with no righteousness, just straight gritty. The same mentality that they had, I, took for myself and performed on my people, right? So I'm not, gonna act like I've never had that mentality. Yes, I had. But it's very, very small, right? So what people see from me is I know I've been there. I know you don't care about the blackness, the love for the people, and I'm going to defend myself. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I don't care if it's a adult or a child. You got a gun. Guns, if you put a 45 in the hands of a 13-year-old, it doesn't turn into a water gun. If you put a 45 in the hands of a woman, it does not turn into a bouquet of flowers. It's the same gun that if a man holds it, it's going to kill you. So you are supposed to defend yourself at all costs. That's what a righteous man does. He has no time to differentiate the differences, right? And so, like, I was looking at a TV show, The Chi, and like, One of the characters, he got into a fight with a dude who done killed people, violated him, but the camera was on and it made him the bad guy, right? And so I'm like one of them people that I live with being this quote unquote bad guy because our community is void of righteousness. Is void of it. It does not acknowledge righteousness. It acknowledges the black criminal, right, or white logic. Well, you shouldn't be doing that, and this mentality. So, like, this is why I wanted to talk about righteousness. I wanted to talk about it in the sense of community. Inside the community, unless we train each other that there is nothing, I mean, nothing that you can get from another black person that's going to be of value. It's not, right? But we also got to teach black people to live humble, right? Meaning that you shouldn't live with all your value on you because there's going to be starving people. Black people are starving. You trying to say you eating in a world where other people are starving, right? And so there's always going to be this conflict of interest. The righteous man is supposed to look at the man with the jewels, the black man with the jewels, and be like, God bless, because I know you are underestimating the black devil. I know you are underestimating the black devil. I know that for a fact because you're walking around telling them I got $30,000 of jewels, this, that, and the third, right? We have TV like Power, and all of that, Raising Canaan, where you see this rewriting of history now. This skinny buck 02 woman acting like she's this gangster, in this whole world that's dominated by men. And so when you look at the streets and hypnotism and suggestion, you see this system being promoted to us, right? So you hear it in the rap songs. You see the females now, they are taking the male role while the dudes are being transformed to this subservient roles, even to the women, right? Because it's all based on money. If she's allowed to get the bread now, then these dudes are turning into house husbands and, this type of thing, which is not for me to knock it, right? But this is how we are winding up in this situation. So I'm saying this in that understanding hypnotism, understanding mesmerism, understanding how this system is working against us. So we need to install righteousness within the community, and that means more people stepping up to understand, or even if you don't want these people to war and shoot guns into your community, there need to be righteous people within that community. If you are like Inglewood family, right, is a gang in California, right? And so if there was a time, there's like one of these communities where they stick together, much love, right? And so even if there was a time when it was brewing to be conflicts within the circle, those within that circle stepped up and was like, nah, you know what I mean? We're not going to be warring with each other because X, Y, Z, and this, that, and the third. that system needs to be employed within all communities. If you repping Crip, cool. Then you should be able, and if you saying you doing this for community, this, that, and the third, and you are not able to tell these people within your community, yo, if somebody get killed inside here because of your actions against your own people, you ain't got to worry about them getting you. I'ma get you. So all of that, you causing these unnecessary conflicts, and if one of these babies, my brother, my mom's, my cousin, anybody gets in anything based on you causing a conflict with other people that you know are not having it just like you, then I'm holding you more responsible than the person who pulled that trigger. That's just how I'm looking at it. If you cause the problem for that person to have to feel like he has to get revenge, even though he might mess up and shoot my sister, my baby, whatever, I'm coming after you. I'm not going after him. The law can have him. But I'm coming after you. You will not be inside this community and hiding behind the community while you are the reason why my son, my daughter, my girl, my mom's, my aunt, whoever got killed. And so that's what needs to be. And then from that, you go outward. Right? Because, the people over there, you'd be like, yo, listen, nobody over here is robbing you. Nobody over here is doing anything. But that does not mean that I will allow, because we are minding our business, that we're going to allow you to come in. Because we already established our peoples are going and running and looting and, snatching up ATM machines and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So none of that has anything to do with just people go on an outward journey, come back and celebrating, and you want to take it from them because you're living off this code of no snitching. And no, that means that you are a predator within the community, because this community went outward to get theirs. They didn't go over to you. They went outside of you. But you were scared to go outside of yourself, and so you try to come back here. And you see, that's where the problem ensues within our community. This cowardly action of being afraid to go pursue outward endeavors. That's, like I said, I'm not promoting no crime, but I'm damn sure gonna support a crime that has nothing to do with my community, because I understand that there is a crime being, portrayed on or pushed upon my community. Yeah. People have been eating off of us for a very long time. So I do not have no feelings for anybody who goes outwardly and gets it back. You understand what I'm saying? We every day, you on, TikToks and Facebooks and Instagrams, and you are learning this history of what they have done to your people. There's no way that you are not aware, what has the crimes that has been perpetrated upon black people from those outside of the black community. What would I look like telling you as a righteous man not to go get that back? You say you believe in the Bible and you know the story of Moses, and hey, I'm supporting that in my understanding of righteousness. I'm supporting Lamech in my understanding of righteousness. That's what I know righteousness to be. these people have done something to my people. I'm not standing by and watching that. But in order for that to take place, you have to address the inward cowards, right? And that means I'm not going to tell my people, oh, yo, don't carry guns because, hey, you got to go over there and get it from, that other squad over there, the outsiders. So, you understand what I'm saying? I'm not telling you don't defend yourselves in this because you're going to have to. You think they're going to allow you to keep running up in these stores and looting it? This, that, and the third. No, they not. You understand what I'm saying? So eventually there's going to be a pushback, right? And there's been a pushback way before that. So, I'm going to always stand by that circle. Always. I'm not going to stand by anybody who's oppressing the people inwardly. So if I see a man with a gold chain on, I don't have no interest in it. It means nothing to me. I'm hoping, he didn't get it internally. I'm hoping he didn't sell drugs to us. I'm hoping he didn't rob us. I don't know what he did. Only that community knows. So we need to set up these pockets where we letting even the crew over there know, yo, this person right here, this is who you looking for. This is the person that went into your community and did X, Y, Z. Nobody here is going to care. Because I would rather that poison be removed than brew new poisons, meaning that you rob this person, say you on 13th Street and you rob somebody on 17th, right? The people on 17th, now you have brewed a hate for 13th, right? So now those people, they don't separate anybody because you saying we all get down together. Ain't no fair ones, this, that, and the third. So you will defend the wickedness of that community. So now, if the people from 17th go in the 13th and shoot this innocent persons, they live or they die, those loved ones, again, instead of going, yo, it was you the one who caused this problem, right? You're going to brew that other side to make more hatred, and so the cycle is gonna keep going. At some point in time, there has to be an end. Like I said, I know my 5% of, not to say 5% like that, but I know that 5% of internal negative promotion. I understand what I've put out there, and I've always been willing to accept those consequences, but most of it I've always just stayed to myself, moved away. Like if I for a long time I just felt like rolling alone and becoming entwined in the community would prevent me from having problems. And it's been proven, because when a person violated, even though I wasn't from a community, the whole community understood when I went and handled my business. And that's real. Like, it's hard to explain. One day I'll give a whole drop down on that. But I was literally in a community, and some people violated. I went and handled my business, and the rest of the community understood, because they knew these people wasn't just violating me, my people, from being foreigners, but they was violating their own people anyway. So here it is, somebody that's outside and embraced the whole community as an outsider. You know, people like, damn, I feel like I know you my whole life, this, that, and the third. That's what allowed for them to understand that I was being righteous in my actions. I never went out in that community and did any wrong. All I did was not accept a wrong that was perpetrated upon me and my people. So I was able to maneuver like that. Once I've, and I'm going to say, the last time I've deliberately went out to be a malicious person towards my people was like 9/7. Real talk. And not to say I haven't been in jail and all of that. My son's mother got arrested and, I got arrested for her. But these were people who violated me. My son's mother stabbed me up. I'm not the type of, I don't give a fuck who you are. You fucking stabbed me up. I'm going to handle my business on you. I didn't put my hands on you. I wasn't oppressing you or any of that. So I'm going to handle my business. Another time, somebody gave, a young, female, which happened to be, a neighbor of somebody that I knew, gave me fake money, right? Fake $100 bill. Wasn't, my whole problem was first, when they first did it, they had 4 kids in the car. Right? All of them, none of them over like 4 years old. They laughing. It was these 2 older chicks, right? I mean, older than the kids, right? In the car, they laughing, driving off, ha ha ha. You teaching this to that youth. Then you come back around a month and a half later and think it's a joke. I wind up, slapping the person in the face. No guns or nothing, but here's my logic. What if I was on that type of savage mode and you did that and I started shooting off, right? Those kids in that back seat are more in danger than the people in the front seat because the bullet got a dude driving off. The bullet got to travel past them before they get to the adults. That's why, my righteousness and who are you to be putting it? What? Listen, I'd rather you judge me because you on some feminist movement, real men don't. I don't give a what you think. I'm looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is more than just some man and woman and you don't have, you don't have the right to be robbing people and then looking at society the way it is today. That's what righteousness is. Righteousness is not caring about your good or bad. That's not my judgment. You thinking I'm this type of person or not, but if you look at the whole situation, I'd rather slap this person. I wound up, like I said, going to get, she lied, they lied, I did this. The whole truth came out, this is in Atlanta. They like, no contest. Understood that, hey, man. Nah, I'm just simply, I could have been a way worse person. I could have been a way worse person. I could have shot off guns and all of that. But no, what I did was simply, you standing there thinking I'm joking, right? And the only reason why they wasn't able to drive off is because the bus had blocked the car. So I wound up slapping the person. Whole big, deal. The point is, righteous people have no time for your opinions of right or wrong. I mean, what is right and wrong, but definitely not good or bad. Which you feel that was, you're a good person. Listen, I'm not a good person. I'm not a bad person. I'm a righteous person. I'm going to do what is right for all. For all. For those children that you are misguiding and misleading. For the people that you thinking that this is wrong. Like I said, you see them today, they running, females running people over with cars and shooting now because is being promoted. This is what was given. This is hypnotism and mesmerism. And so it's going to only get worse because no one is being righteous and saying, yo, listen, man, somebody got to step up and say, yo, this is out of control. You don't love yourselves. All you trying to do is convince everybody that you are in this right position. I told you, I've been wrong. I know I've been wrong. I know the things that I've done was wrong. But I also can look and say, no, I don't think I don't think those people who were looting and, running up into those stores and stuff, I don't think they wrong. Not in my eyes. Like, is anybody getting hurt? No. Right? Is the companies and corporations who outsourced and went to all of these other places? That's not our business. You are starving us out as a people. Do you think I'm going to tell my people you are wrong? Hell no. I'm not telling nobody within my community that those things are wrong. I see you scheming and plotting on somebody in my own neighborhood or your own neighborhood, I'ma say you wrong. If I see you scheming on somebody across town just because they from the east side, west side, I'ma say you wrong. That's not righteous. None of that stuff benefits nobody. So with that, I just wanted to give a little time and just talk about, what does it mean to be righteous? It means to even be the bad guy within your community because you have to go up against the bad guys. That's why I support people like New Era, like even though, the new Black Panthers and, these groups, I support them because they got to go within their community and lay it down. Like, listen, we not having that. Especially New Era movement. I love them so much. I respect, the energy that I'm seeing. I don't see it, I understand, it got, I don't see it as a feminist movement. I don't see it as, utilizing the dudes just to hide behind, these women who's using these dudes as masks to get away with stuff. Find some sucker to, you don't put your hands on no man. Listen, she put her hands on me, she gonna catch a bad one. She pull that gun out or whatever, she gonna catch the same thing anybody else will catch. That's just how I'm giving it up. But I do not support, that savage mode of looking and oppressing anybody. No man should oppress no woman. No man should just be beating up women out of nowhere. But like I said, you do wrong, hey, there's no forgiveness. There's no, because it's this type of person or that type of person. I don't play that game. I'm righteous. So with that, I'm gonna wait for my ad to pop up in another few seconds. You know what I'm saying? And then we up out of here. Like I said, if you feel what I'm saying, don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell to get more notifications. Don't forget that, if you go into my channel, hit those buttons to, get my products, whether it be the book or even my merch. You know what I'm saying? And support the channel. You know what I'm saying? We love you. We respect you. And we want to give you the truth. Like I said, I'm not a male chauvinist. I'm just not a feminist tool. I'm not supporting gang banging, but I am supporting, a movement that understands oppression and going after and getting back what was taken from you by the oppressor. oppressor. Here come that like button, and after that, right? After that like, there we go. We are out of here. Peace.